All right, so good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar on next-gen pharmacovigilance, smarter safety monitoring with the multi-vigilance platform. I'm Pooja Sood, your host for today's session, and on behalf of the Cloudbyz team, thank you for joining us as we explore how next-gen safety monitoring can help life sciences companies manage rising case volumes, fragmented safety data, and regulatory complexity while accelerating decision-making and improving patient outcomes. Now, before we begin, a few housekeeping notes. This session is being recorded and will be available on our website, cloudbyz.com. We'll also share the recording via email after the webinar. Your microphones are muted for the moment, but we encourage you to use the Q&A feature throughout the session. We'll address your questions at the end. If you experience any technical issues, please message us in the chat and our team will assist promptly. For those who stay the Q&A, we'll also be sharing a QR code at the end so you can schedule a personalized demo with our team. Now, looking at the agenda, here's what we'll cover today. We'll have a quick overview of Cloudbyz and our mission to modernize pharmacovigilance and safety monitoring, the current challenges in drug, device, and cosmetic vigilance, from rising case volumes to siloed data and manual processing, the shift to multi-vigilance and what it means and why it matters for regulatory compliance, operational efficiency, and scalability. A quick deep dive into the Cloudbyz multi-vigilance platform, including a live demo, and then key benefits for sponsors, CROs, and service providers, followed by a Q&A session. Now, before we dive into the main discussion, let me introduce to Cloudbyz, a leading eClinical solutions provider. Our platform is one of the fastest growing unified eClinical trial management solutions in the market, designed 100% on the Salesforce platform, offering a unique blend of scalability, modularity, and configurability to suit your specific business needs and processes. At Cloudbyz, we believe in empowering organizations of all sizes, from Fortune 500 companies to agile startups, to streamline their clinical trials, optimize operations, and accelerate the delivery of life-saving therapies. A comprehensive suite of products covers the entire spectrum of clinical trial management, including the CTMS, a flagship product that facilitates seamless end-to-end project management for clinical trials, the CTFM, which is the clinical trial financial management tool, an essential tool for managing the financial aspect of clinical research, the ETMF, a robust document management solution ensuring compliance and efficient data handling, the EDC, our powerful data management platform, product of feature today, the safety and pharmacovigilance module that streamlines safety monitoring during and after clinical trials. We are also exploring the future of clinical trials with the recently launched AI-powered platform, clinicalwave.ai, featuring tools like ClinRedact, ClinExtract, and ClinDICOM, which help clinical trial users efficiently handle PHI and PII data across trial documents and DICOM images. Beyond our solutions, Cloudbyz has been recognized in the Everest Group's matrix as a leading provider of eClinical solutions, highlighting our commitment to excellence and innovation. Our products seamlessly integrate with existing systems, offering a unified workflow to ensure your clinical trial processes run smoothly and efficiently. Globally, we are present in 3 countries with our headquarters in Chicago and regional offices in Toronto and an offshore delivery center in Bengaluru, allowing us to support clients across different time zones across the world. Our solutions are fully compliant with global safety regulations, including FDA 21 CFR Part 11, GCP, HIPAA, and more, ensuring quality and security in every aspect of clinical trial management. We are proudly ISO 9001 and 27001 certified. We continue to be recognized for our commitment to quality and security. We are also honored to have been featured among the top 5 emerging pharmacovigilance startups by Startup US and to be recognized by the Inc. 5000 as one of the fastest growing companies in America. For more information, you could visit our website, cloudbyz.com, or reach out to us at info@cloudbyz.com to book a personalized demo. We look forward to helping you bring life-saving therapies to market faster and improve patient lives worldwide. Joining me today are my colleagues Ved and Kapil, who will guide you through the challenges in pharmacovigilance and why a multi-vigilance approach is critical and how Cloudbyz platform can help organizations unify and automate safety monitoring. Kapil, over to you.
So, hi everyone, great to have you all with us today. Now, today we are here to talk about something which we are feeling it's every part of this industry, all of the industry team and industry members are feeling that traditional pharmacovigilance systems are just not cutting it anymore. So as a case volumes, when it is growing on a speed and the regulations are also changing, it cracks our system to a specific way, and then because it could be because of the manual processes, disconnected tools, limited visibilities, so it is making our life harder to stay compliant to the regulations, as well as it is even harder to be a proactive uh, teams who will be performing these pharmacovigilance activities. So we believe it's the time to a change, and it is a real change. So let's talk about what actually happening in this field today. So first, we have seen almost 80% of the adverse event reporting as well as case volume increase in globally since 2020. And this isn't just for the clinical trial cases, it is or any traditional sources. It is also coming from mobile health apps, EHRs, wearables, as well as even social media is contributing in this. And yet over 40% of the safety teams are still rely on heavily on manual processes of pharmacovigilance, such as case intake, triages, data entry, and several other processes. So these are not sustainable at this moment. So fragmentation is one of the major issue as well as risk. So one case may be evolved from 5 different systems. It may be because of the safety databases. It may be because coming in from the literature review tools, contact center logs, partner portals, as well as in the same case you might be doing a medical coding from a different software. So this fragmentation means it's slowing down our turnaround time for a particular case processing, as well as higher compliance risk, because there might be chances that these percentage of case increase may reduce the quality of the processes. That's why it is very important that we have a reactive approach. Instead of having a reactive approach, we might also have to switch our proactive approaches. So what we are going to have here is like 40 to 50% of higher increase in cost is something which every pharmacovigilance teams are really mean to reduce it. So in terms of the multi-vigilance, what we are showcasing today, so at this point of time, this is very important that what we are doing, why we are doing, and we are what traditional PV systems are doing, why they are shorting. So there are, whether you are a part of a system provider, whether you are a part of service provider, CRO, or a sponsor, there are a specific complex service scopes, global compliance complexities, manual workloads, data silos, and difficulties in scaling operations. Similar thing goes for the sponsors, that they have a very limited number of global or control on their oversights, inefficient case processing or management, regulatory compliance and risks are also very important, which they have to always track. So their changes in terms of reactive versus a proactive management of the data, not only in terms of signal detection, but in terms of overall safety data of a particular product. So forecasting and reconciliation process is also making their lives more tedious, and that's where the integration with a multi vigilance functions are very important. Now moving into the next slide, what we have brought in here is a shift to a multi vigilance system. Now, what do we mean by a multi-vigilance system? Simply, if I put it together, it's a shift from product-based safety monitoring to a unified approach. Now, when I'm saying it is a unified approach, I am also talking about across all safety domains, not in terms of post-marketing data, not in terms of clinical trial data, not in terms of your surveillances data. From everywhere, we are trying to say, so whether you are tracking in your events or your cases for a particular drug, whether it is coming from a prescription drug or a veterinary medicine or a devices or any kind of cosmetic product, the underlying safety principles for this thing, these parameters are same. These are timely detection of the events, thorough assessments, and regulatory compliances. So for us, multi-vigilance means bringing these together under one platform, one set of rule, and one process framework. Instead of running parallel silos for each and every type of product and making the journey of the product coming from the clinical trials to the post-marketing area and bringing it to the patients little faster. So imagine the operational efficiency of a unified case management system or the analytical power of the system when you can see the safety trends or safety signals across product categories, across geographical regions, across therapeutic areas, and whatnot. So it's not just about the integration, it's about seeing the full picture of a particular uh, product and their patient safety, then their regardless of what they are taking or what they are using in their day-to-day life. So keeping up with the regulatory changes, let's address this thing also. Something we all know, that we are well aware that regulatory standards are changing. They are not stand still. Whether they are coming from a US FDA, whether they are coming from a EMA, whether it is coming from any regulatory agencies such as Health Canada, TGA, Japan, PMDA, right? So agencies are continuously and constantly releasing new safety guidelines, which will bring more complexity into the processes, as well as they are also changing labeling updates, digital submission formats. So recently there is a change, a switch from transmission methods, from going to a gateway submissions of your cases, from API submissions, now moving it the technology wise shift also. These all shifts can be handled. So historically, when I am saying the staying on the data meant manual monitoring of the sites, the websites, the regulatory websites, signing up for their newsletters, hopping for the alerts that they don't go into your inbox clutters. So but now what is the model which is not working for everybody? Now there is a change in the model, that you can have your the RSS feeds and email alert integrations. So you will receive the feeds according to your requirements. The details of each needs can also be configured. In terms of email alerts, any emails which are sent through the regulatory portals, then API based subscriptions also, which will change from your active monitoring of all the regulatory websites, social media listening, regulatory portal scraping. This is just the convenience, and it is all about the proactive compliance and minimizing the surprise during the audits, which is also increased since last 2020. So if the approach is of active monitoring and passive monitoring, this we at a Cloudbyz we have a hybrid monitoring approach where we have the regulatory intelligence which will give you a meaningful data on your dashboards. This can be from RSS feeds, this can be from your email alerts, API integrations, routine visits to that particular sites, manual review, manual oversight of these processes. Then if it is data is coming from your social media or any industry forums or networks like your registries, so our tool can also integrate in a simpler way. So in this you will get the data which is required by you to get a proper decision, what information you need and what changes you have to make in your processes based on the changing requirements of the regulatory. So in terms of overall assessment, what we are thinking that multi-vigilance platform is one of the best approach. So let me introduce you how we are solving this process. So our multi-vigilance platform is natively built on Salesforce, which means it brings the power, scalability, and security to the world's most trusted cloud platform into the safety operations. Now, some of the major highlights which I will tell you in terms of what we can achieve in today's demo: end-to-end case processing, sometimes automated medical coding, regulatory submission tools, aggregate reports, and the audit trail of entire process, plus the e-signature capabilities if there is a requirement. So all of this work in sync without the need of third parties stitching. And because it's a Salesforce native, you get world's uptime, performance, and global accessibility. So, what the real world value for your organizations are like a scalability, handle safety cases for a multiple product lines, whether it is a product from a veterinary family, whether it is a human family products, or whether it is coming from any other families like your therapeutic areas. Automations in terms of reducing the manual tasks, in terms of lowering the total cost of ownership, with the regulatory changes, AI enabled and insights, and compliance confidences. So whether you are a sponsor, CRO, any global safety partner, consulting firms, this particular platform is designed to grow with you and simply your organizations. So we have completed almost tasks which we are talking about. Now I wanted you to go over into a demo where we can showcase what our platform can bring to you and how you can easily visualize your data on a daily basis or a day-to-day basis. So I will pass on the information to Ved.
Yes. So just relaying what Kapil mentioned, and before we head to the demo, we just wanted to bring everything in one picture in terms of what we wanted to show, and in general, like what Cloudbyz multi-vigilance system does. So this diagram illustrates how Cloudbyz multi-vigilance system provides a truly unified and intelligent safety ecosystem built from ground up for a modern pharmacovigilance and beyond. As you can see, the platform is designed for diverse user group on the top, ranging from healthcare professionals, regulatory teams, to processors, medical monitors, PV officers, data managers. Each of them can play their unique role and unique responsibilities in this system. At the core of this multi-vigilance engine, we bring in all major safety activities in a single platform. So Kapil had mentioned about case intake. So we take care of end-to-end case intake, task management, adverse event management, regulatory reports, and XML PDF submissions. So no matter what your output is, no matter what your submission agency is, the Cloudbyz PV platform is built to cater to that. And then it could be FDA, EMA, Health Canada, local authorities. We cater to all of that. Any sort of narratives and automated coding is taken care of, no matter if you utilize Medra, Houdini, Vedra coding for veterinary cases. All of that is inbuilt in the system, including event assessment, query management, approval workflows, e-signatures, and third-party integration with, let's say, any intake source, Amazon CTIs, or any other sources like that, as well as the any gateways that we need to integrate with. On the bottom, as Kapil mentioned, we are built on the Salesforce platform, and we utilize the fantastic, one of the best platform in the world. We have their application services, features like identity management, two-factor authentication, user permissions, field level security, and then we have the network services. So the platform is built on HTTPS encryption, provides IP restrictions, firewalls, advanced threat detection, and then we have their amazing infrastructure services where they offer data centers across the world, no matter where you want your data centers to be. We have disaster recovery, real-time replication, and third-party certificates for or resilience and regulatory compliance. Together, this platform brings a safety team together that can manage all vigilance types, no matter pharma, device, biologics, cosmetics, you name it, within a single future-ready ecosystem. Just high level, the core benefits. I know we spoke a lot about the features and what we can do, but in general, like what's in it for you, you get a unified 360-degree global oversight. So in a single pane of glass view across all products, vigilance types, and geographies, enabling more informed decisions and faster. You have unified safety operations. It's given that any silos between drug, device, cosmetics, biologic safety team is not going to exist anymore, and you will have a unified approach for that. You can have you can reduce your turnaround time with the AI assisted intake, automated triage, streamlined narrative generation, and much more. As it's built on Salesforce, it is completely scalable, it is cloud native, and you can handle hundreds or even millions of cases if needed. Obviously, as I spoke about, we get a world class security and trust, which means it's built on enterprise grade security, disaster recovery, and audit readiness into the core. On the right, you would see some business value. So obviously, having this single multi-vigilance platform will reduce your IT overhead and total cost of ownership. You deploy faster and have a lower cost to incur. It is very user friendly, which is something you're going to see in the next few minutes when I head to demo. And not just a developer, but any IT user can drag and drop and have built their own flexible workflows. Um, it provides an option to stay updated with the market. We have AI inbuilt as well. Whenever needed, it can be enabled to help you with productivity and many more such use cases. And every case signal report follows a standard process, a regulatory driven process, and that is something the system is also built keeping in mind. Okay, so with these features, just want to make sure that you understand what we are bringing to the table, whether your goal is compliance, efficiency, innovation. Cloudbyz provides the agility and intelligence to help you lead into multi-vigilance world. Now, with that, a lot of words were spoken, but let's look at the system. Let me share my screen. Thank you so much again, everyone, for staying through the presentation. Next, we will head to the demo where we'll see the homepage. We'll take a quick look at the work list, how we manage tasks, case triage, priority cases, all the stuff. We will head to account where we'll see how you can capture, if you're a service provider, how can you capture all the sponsors you're working with? If you're a sponsor, how can you just look at all the maybe trials you're running, sites, if it's a trial side of it. Then we look at the products, how you can manage multiple types of products, cosmetics, animal, veterinary side of it. And then we will look at how you can set up a specific project. And then we will head to the case management, submissions, and aggregate report. So first thing first, we have, as we mentioned, right, we can build in multiple vigilance in one system. Now, right now, we are in pharmacovigilance. Let's say you want to switch to veterinary side of the world. You all you have to do is just search for that, and you can see a Cloudbyz veterinary app. Now, this is all in the same system, but it's just a different workspace. So don't get confused that you're moving to a new system. No, it's in the same instance, in the same platform. The data is shared. It's just you are moving into a different workspace for veterinary cases or veterinary PV management, let's say, or you can have a different workstation for cosmetics, medical device, so that you can track the right data points, right reports. But all of this is shared in a common instance. So no multiple platforms, just a different workstations. Just we call it different apps. Now, first thing first that you actually see when you log into the homepage or when you log into the system is the homepage, which gives you a key oversight of what's happening. Now, in this case, there are some of the dashboards reports that I have on the screen. But for me, my first thing is my work list. So I'm going to go in and let's say I don't have any tasks today, but let's see my overdue task. So I can see all the tasks which were assigned to me or which are overdue. As I scroll down, I can see all the priority case triage. So I have an option to maybe pick them and assign it to myself, or the system can automatically give you logic, or system can automate that assignment to specific users as well. I am going to show you the case triage as well in a bit later, but this is where on the home screen in my work list, I can see what are my overdue tasks, what are my current tasks on the right, and what are the cases that probably I can pick it up if it's not auto assigned to me. So it's pretty interesting where you can just manage your day and plan it accordingly, and also be on top of any priority cases that needs your attention. Uh, just uh, just leading back to what I was saying, you can also see the case within the case management, all the cases which are in the priority list. So in this case, these are in the highest priority. But I can also see the non-priority cases. Let's say I have some time. I don't have any in the system right now, but let's say I have some time on my hands. I can always pick up the non-priority cases. In this case, I only have priority cases to look at, which is not so good. Um, Moving on to the accounts is where you can, as I mentioned, as a sponsor, you can see all the CROs or all the service providers you're working with, or all the sites. In this case, you might be working with if it's in clinical trials. But as a service provider, you can track all the sponsors that you might be working with. In this case, let's pick up this one. Now you can see all the key information about this particular manufacturer. As you can see, some key information. This is an original manufacturer in this industry segment. You can track their contacts. I do have two individuals, Lauren Bailey and Philip Tyson, who I interact with. On the right, you can see any email interaction that I've gone through. So you have full visibility into what's being tracked and what's your interaction been with them. If any clinical studies are involved with this particular sponsor, you can obviously track that too. Projects. Before I get into projects, project is basically an engagement with this sponsor. So let's say you're a service provider or you're a CRO, and you are contracted with the sponsor. You can track the engagement and have a sponsor specific setup. Very powerful within the system. We'll get to the projects in a minute. Before that, I wanted to come to company product. This is where you can track all the products under this sponsor. So you can always click on a product, and now you can see an extensive, exhaustive information about a particular company product. Um, this can be as detailed as you can go in. But I wanted to bring your attention to a very powerful dynamic capability. Now, in this case, the product type is OTC drug, and you would see all the fields and information captured for OTC. What if this product was let's say, an animal health drug? Now you might see a complete different set of metrics that have to be captured. Now, what if this was a device, a medical device? Now you would see a complete different set of fields and information that can be captured: device class, UDI, intended use, packaging type. Let's say it was a cosmetics product. Now you see a complete different set of fields that have to be captured: intended use, certifications, shelf life, application method. In fact, I can go in and show you some of the pick list values as well. You can see spray, cream, gel, oil. This is how dynamic the system is. This is what we call the power of multi-vigilance. You can just switch the product type and see a complete different set of fields and information you have to capture. This is just an example of a product. You can do the same across the system, and the system is very intelligent to understand which product type or which account type or company type you're talking about, and it automatically adjusts. Like in this case, I selected device pack, and you can see now the packaging type has complete different set of values, which is linked to a device product. Let me go back. It was actually an OTC. Okay. Beyond that, you can track all the stuff you need to around product systems, expected adverse event, product registration, inactive, any aggregate report that has been built for this product, or that had this product information is also linked. So pretty exhaustive. Now I can go back to account. Let's get back to projects. So project is where, as I mentioned, you can have your engagement specific setup. Now, in this case, I am, let's say I'm a service provider or CRO, and I'm working with the sponsor, and I have this particular engagement with them, which is ICNX cold and flu project. You can mention plan start date, plan end date, actual start date, actual end date, percentage completion, which phase this project is in, project type. Now, project template is another powerful functionality we provide. So a lot of so in the system, we understand this could be used, as we spoke in the presentation, this could be used by a sponsor, or this could be used by a service provider. So keeping that in mind, we have an option to provide very specific setup options for a particular engagement. Now, this is a OTC workflow setup that we already have as a template. So let's say, let me click on this. And before I click on this, let me show you project setup. This is where when I click on this, you can now define your project specific settings. What I mean by that is, let's say you want an auto case creation just for this particular engagement, or you want to add a medical review checklist just for this particular engagement, which is optional to this and not for the next engagement that you have or next project that you have. So you can do that. Uh, that's where you can define your specific setup that you have to. And then workflow setup is another powerful mechanism. So what I mean by that is, when I click on that, you would see workflow stages. So currently, in this project or in this engagement, I am supposed to provide these functionalities or services, or as a sponsor, I have to undertake these activities to take care of my PV activity, PV, items. So processing, intake, submissions, data entry, review. Now we have seen in real world sometimes the order of these things can change, which means sometimes data entry can happen right after intake, and sometimes review and QC can also happen right after intake, versus in some cases we have seen review and QC happening very late, right before submissions. All those things is easily manageable in the system. You can provide sequences. So in this case, I have provided some sequences to define how this will be shown in the actual case, which we will look at in a few minutes. But this is where it's very powerful, because you have the power to control how your PV processes work and what stages or what items you have to look at. Again, each let's say if I go into data entry, I can break this down into tasks. So what all items or what all tasks or what all things have to happen under data entry, I can define that, which system automatically picks up when we are dealing with the case, and make sure that at least those are completed. Now some of that can be mandatory fields to fill in. Some of, like for example, even narrative first draft, I cannot proceed to the next stage until I'm done with an even narrative uh, first draft. So let's say if I want to move to data entry to, let's say, case submission, I cannot until I complete all of these tasks, if they are mandatory. Some of them could be soft validations. It's just a warning. So coming back at the project setup, so this was your workflow setup, where you can control your workflows, but you can also define submission rule. Let's say for this engagement, for this product, let's say you have these three rules that you can provide. You can go into each rule, and you can go in and just provide severity event. You can provide like what are the conditions which will trigger this rule, and then and you can also define the regulatory forms. Let me expand that too. So you can see in this case COMS and E2BR to XML, but you can always select if it's animal, FDA 1932 and CVMP XML are pretty common. If it's medical device, EMDR forms are available, MDCG is available. So as you can see, you can define these at the engagement level. Let me go back. You can define your narrative template. So even something like narrative is templatized in the system, which means when you actually go to a case, you would automatically see these information popped up in a very well formatted narrative. Now all you need to do is obviously do your due diligence and make some changes, but this is where everything to the down to even narrative can be set up as a template in the system. And then reporting templates. So this is where maybe I can just open it up in a separate window, but this is where you can actually set up your forms or the actual regulatory forms, and you can do drag and drop, build it in the system. So let's say you want to have a E2BR to XML for a new engagement, you can always go in and build that regulatory forms. I'll try to show that in the later stages if the time permits, but let's move on. Project. So we looked at the project specific setup, what changes or what modifications or what power you have for each engagement you can have in the system. So it's not just that you have an option to set up something for, let's say, human family product family or veterinary product family, but even within human, each engagement you can go ahead and have your own specific setup, own specific settings, own specific nuances that you want to capture or that you want to change. Project team defines what permissions and roles someone has in this project, and any cases that stems from this project. So in this case, Jack is a medical reviewer, Quentin is quality reviewer, and all of those roles can have its set of permissions, so access and permissions as well, which means Jack might not be able to access the submission side of it. In terms of case management, you can see these are all the cases that have stemmed from this project, which is very interesting in terms of how many cases has come out. You can track all of them in a comprehensive view. In terms of customer contact, from the sponsor side, I have this particular point of contact, which is someone I can reach out to. Senders and receivers, company product, assign coding dictionaries. So you can always go ahead and assign coding dictionaries. In this case, I have Medra and Who Drug, Who did he assign to it? If this was a veterinary one, I can always assign Medra coding. Maybe I can show you in the new one. As you can see, as an option, I have Medra coding and Vedra. So if this was an animal side or veterinary side, I can easily would have selected a Vedra coding dictionary. You can also have an API integration done. Again, the system is very powerful in terms of those API connections as well. So if you're using an online Vedra, let's say, or Medra version, you can always have an API connection done to the system. You can also see what level this dictionary should be allocated to. Let's move on. So reporting templates is what I was talking about earlier. This is where you can actually build your regulatory submission forms by yourself, or your IT admin can build it. You don't have to reach out to us. As you can see, for this particular engagement, I have these forms already built out. I have COMs built out in the system. You can see all the sections, all the field, and the best part is this is all drag and drop. So there's no coding needed. There is no specific, developer needed. Easily you can make these forms. This is all in a template, by the way. So all the COMs, let's say E2B, R2, XML, all of that is available as a form templates, which you can just import in seconds. Maybe make some tweaks of your own. Maybe you want to change there may be a response type. Maybe you want to change the value type. Whatever specific changes you want to make, you can make, and then have this form ready for generate submissions. Again, very powerful functionality. As you can see, we have so many forms already built out for this particular project, and this could be reused, which means once you build it, you can just store the form as a template and reuse across next study or next project. All right. So this is where I wanted to bring in the power of the project and the project setup. Now, if you're a sponsor, you can have your product specific setup in a similar way. So each product that you are working on or dealing with or looking at the PV activities, you can go ahead and make such nuances and look at some nuances for any case that comes in for that product. Any MIQ that is being captured, that can be captured in the medical information query object or data area, as we call it. Any PQC can be captured as well here. All of the product technical complaint or product quality complaints can be captured in the system. Case management, I did showcase the priority case triage, but this is where the system can help you find your cases. In this case, all of these cases are assigned to me, and all of these cases are also part of the case triage. So I have an option to, let's say I want to work on these 3 cases, I can always go ahead and assign it to myself, or I can always assign it to someone else. And third option is the system has an option to automatically assign it to a specific user. Let's say if it's a P1 serious hospitalization case, it can get assigned to a very high quality, high team member, versus any low priority cases can go into a new team members, something like that. Let me click on one of the cases and show you how the case management works in the system. So now you're looking at a case particularly coming out from the particular project I was showing and the product I was talking about. So now you can see some of the key information. All of this information can automatically, just sync up from, let's say if it's a safety case, it can come in from EDC. If it's a post-market, multiple sources. The system can integrate with, they talk about Amazon CTI or any call center scenarios or literature, or just forward or structured email, unstructured email. We can kind of do all sorts of intake that you might be doing currently. So so much information to look at. And then we can define if the case is reportable. We can automate this as well based on certain conditions if the case is serious, and if certain ICHR criteria are met, the case can automatically be reportable. So all of that information can be captured: reporter information, patient information. So all the four validation criteria. This is what you see here in the detail page. Again, this is an example. The system can always be configured as per your use cases. Now, what you see here in this nice visual ribbon is the workflow stages. This is where I was talking about that this all can be modified based on your specific engagement. Now, these are the workflow stages that I have captured for this particular case, because I set that up in the project that I was showing you earlier. But if you have a different project, let's say for medical device, and you might not even have these workflow stages, that's what the system can do. So it can keep it specific to just to this sponsor, this project, and this case coming in from that product and project. So yeah, as we were talking about the multi-vigilance, this is how we can also cater to different nuances. I'm going to show you a veterinary side of it as well. So you can see in this case, these are, certain stages. But in the veterinary, let's say if I go into this one, you should see a complete different set of stages. So now you see a veterinary medical assessment, non-reportable QC assessment, client approval. Complete different set of workflow compared to what you are seeing in the human drug PV system. And mind you, these is all happening in the same platform. So you're not switching in from different platform, but actually in the same instance. And again, I keep using the word powerful, but this is what we're talking about, that so much flexibility on your hands. Different tabs tells you different information. So reporter, patient, you can always click on that and see more information about the patient and whatever you want to capture. Medical status, parent information if it's a minor, medical history, drug history, lab data. Product is where you can actually capture which product was suspect, which product was concomitant. It could be multiple suspect products. You can capture product indications, and then adverse event. This is where all the adverse event can be captured. Now let's say, quickly showing you how the meta coding works. Let's say I want to add a new adverse event. I can quickly, let's say, give fever as a meta code terms. Now it automatically matches to the closest term, but fever is a pretty generic term, which means I can always search fever and I can see a tree of all the terms, and I can do my due diligence, which I have to as a PV officer. I'm sure a lot of you can relate to it. But this is where I can easily see LLT, PT, HLT, all those terms, and go in and add them. Now I can also basically click into any of this adverse event, and I can see far more information about this adverse event as well. But again, if you can check if it's intermittent, ongoing, is it resolved, any thing can be tracked. Case assessment is where I can come in and do a lot of case as well as event level assessment. Now, if you're used to doing the case assessment and event assessment in one window, that is something we can do as well, or we can separate that out and give you a separate area for case assessment and event assessment. Keep in mind, this is where the system really excels because it can cater to your choices, your current workflows, or current way of doing it. That being said, the narrative is automatically generated based on the template we had set up earlier. It has picked up information from various locations in this database and just went ahead and entered those. But as I promised, you can always go in and make your changes, so you're not stuck with what the system has provided to you. Yeah, you can format it, bold, underline, italics, strikeout if you have to, by the way. And then you can define your seriousness criteria. This is again automatically populated because much of this is could be captured in during intake phase or maybe in the EDC side of the world if it's again from clinical trials. But you can come in and do your seriousness criteria. You can perform your causality. So let's say in the methods we can provide WHO, UMC, no ranjo. A-bond scale is used for animal veterinary side of it, so we support that as well. Causality can be selected, expectedness can be selected, labeling can be done, and much more. Again, this is an example. We can always capture a lot more information if you want to do that too. Without heavy lifting, by the way. In terms of event analysis, you can always go in and maybe do the event analysis, or let's say you want to update some of the causality, rechallenge, dechallenge. The system has an option to automatically populate multiple rechallenge, dechallenge, causality, etc. All the source document is captured here. In this case, I have patient interview or telephone follow-up notes. I can preview that. If you want to see that, but oh, sorry, maybe not this one. I think this is the right one. Yeah, now I can see all the primary care clinic visit notes that is captured. Any other source document that can be downloaded as a packet and also used for submissions if you need that. Talking about submissions, that takes me to the next tab. And before I talk about submission, there are a lot of small features which is very useful for you, such as duplicate cases matching. The system can automatically match any duplicates. Currently, I don't have any. System can automatically link cases. There's a case routing logic as well that you can set up. You can also route the case. Let's say you have multiple personas working on multiple, stakeholders working on this case. So let's say I want to route it to review and QC process. I can easily do that, which will go and send it to the next individual who is supposed to review and QC the case. Um, System also has a lot of notifications and validations. So for example, let's say let me go here, and if I'm trying to create a new case, let's say it's a human case, and if I'm trying to save, you can see the system gives you the following validations, which means I have to fill in these information before I can move on. And this is hyperlink, which is such a relief because I can click on this, it will take me to project and I can link that. So yeah, these validations are available throughout the system, not just when you create a new case, but each stage here can have a validation involved, which means it can stop you from moving to next stage until and unless you actually have completed that requirement. This could be soft validations too. I mean, it's not that there are some times with just a warning that, hey, it's recommended to fill in that information or something like that. So we can also have soft validations set up in the system as well. So yeah, so we spoke about case routing. We have milestones. So if you have any milestones and tasks around this cases, you can track that too. Case staging is where some of our customers like to have like a staging area or like a QC area before a case is valid. So they get a lot of intake and a lot of noise. So they like to keep it in the case staging and then move it to the actual case processing once they have defined that it's valid. So all of that options are available in the system. You have a copy case option. Let's say we want to have 10 patients, cases for 10 patients, or 10 cases, something like that. You can easily use the copy case option as well. Now let's talk about submissions. So we saw this reporting rules earlier. So let's say a US FDA, you do E2BR2 XML, all those sorts of things you can set up in the system. So system will automatically pick up the data and generate, let's say, XML files for you. In this case, I don't know if the data is correct. So I can always do a quick preview. I click off this button. Now, not very appealing, to be honest, because XMLs are not my favorite item to look at. So I can always go to form snapshot. Let me go here. And now when I click on the snapshot, I can actually compare the original value, which is in the system, to the transform value, which is in the E2BR2 XML. So let's say in this case, regulatory authorities has become number 2 in my E2BR to XML. So it's a very powerful way to review some of these values and some of these transformations if you're not fond of seeing E2BR2 files, XML files, just like me. And then you can always download the regulatory files. Now is a draft file version. Let's say it's final. I can click on that and it will show up getting downloaded right here. In the similar lines, let me go back to my case. In the similar lines, let's say it's MedWatch. Again, I can look at the form snapshot. You can look at a preview of. Oh, sorry, I might have already submitted, so I can't see the preview. But I can always generate the MedWatch, and now it gets downloaded right here. So you can see the MedWatch, which is filled from the system perspective. Okay. So that's about, oh, sorry, I might have resubmitted that. Apologies for that. There's a problem with Google where it doesn't let me close this for some reason. Anyway, let's go back to the case. So that's about the case management. And there's so much more I want to talk about, but I have to get rid of this. So much more I want to talk about, but again, keeping time on mind, I want to quickly talk about the aggregate report side of it. So system also provides you an option to generate aggregate report, not just line listing, but actual reports, formatted reports. So obviously, in this case, you can generate a line listing, you can associate cases, or it can automatically do it for you if there's a logic that you have. But I can quickly generate line listings, and it can go and generate those line listing, or I can go in and actually generate aggregate reports in the system. So I can have, I've already generated that. So we can look into it in a separate demo if you guys are interested. But as I mentioned, the system can actually go in and not just generate line listings, but also generate the actual formatted aggregate report that can be used. With that, I think it brings me to the end of the demo. Again, there is so much more we can discover and uncover. But again, if you have any questions, if you would like to tune this to your specific use case, or if you have a scenario on your mind, do reach out, because again, as I mentioned, this system can be configured, can be broken down and set up in a way you would want it to work. And that's been our vision with the system as well. So thank you. Oh, yeah, sorry. Last thing before I let you all go. In terms of veterinary cases, you can see the animal data. So just wanted to show you also, I did show you on the product side of it, but in the actual case, this is a veterinary case, and you can see now instead of patient data, we have animal data and different fields that are required in terms of an animal or veterinary case management. So yeah, sorry, this was one last thing I wanted to show as well. Okay, now I'm gonna stop presenting, and Pooja, maybe you can bring in the slides to end.
Yeah, sure, Ved, I'll do that. We just have 5 minutes to go with. Would you want to pick up the questions that we have received in the chat?
Sure. Hey, Dorina, I think I'm going to pick it from the chat first.
Yeah.
You mentioned, is it possible to link cases from different modules? So if my case contains MQ, PQC, ICSR, as well as, is it possible to link them together? Yes. So basically, I don't know if I pointed that out, but from the case itself, there is a checkbox where I can define if the case, if the case is a medical query, information query, or a PQC, and it's linked to a case, but it can also have a different area where you can access that MQ and PQC, but it's all linked within the same case. And you asked the second, and I can take it up even further, Dorina, if you want to connect after this call, and we can look into how the system does that. You asked, is it possible to receive XML directly with this system? Yes. Yeah. So this is what I showed. I think you can get the file version of it. Is it possible to set up gateway connection? Indeed. So we do have partners or gateway, sort of partners which does that. So yes, all the time we have options to set up with FDA, and with ESG, it has become a lot more friendlier, which is a good news. So yes, we do it all the time. Any other questions, Pooja, that I might have missed?
We'll have to just check. Yeah, I think
Lot.
Lorena had two questions. So you've picked up both her questions, right?
Yeah. Dorena, please reach out to us after the call. I think we can quickly show you how all those things, can be done in the system.
Yep. And if there are more questions, of course, you can just scan the QR code on the screen and to set up a meeting or a demo, whichever you prefer, with our team, which is available on the call today. I'll be happy to help you support that. Um, okay. Do we have any more questions? No. All right, then. Thank you, Wade and Kapil, for the insights and for walking us through today's session and demo. And for everyone who joined us, we hope this webinar gave you valuable perspective on how multi-vigilance can simplify compliance, streamline operations, and enhance safety oversight across drugs. And yeah, if you'd like to learn more or schedule a one-on-one demo with the team, please use the QR code to visit cloudbyz.com. This session recording will be shared with you all by email and will also be available on our website. And just a quick note, we'll be in Chicago next week at the ADLM. So should any one of you would be visiting, please drop by our booth 3955. We are really looking forward to meeting you. And thank you so much once again for your time today, and we look forward to connecting again soon. Have a great day. Thanks a lot.